Hello, this is Conversation 2, video lecture number 2. We will begin studying Touchstone 4, Unit 1, which is titled Interesting Lives. In addition to the video lecture, I've also provided you with the PDF copy of the book. It is on the website and in the school system, so you can download this and follow along as we go. As you can see here in this unit, we're going to learn how to use simple and continuous verbs. We're also going to learn how to use verb plus ing. These are commonly called gerunds. And to plus the base form of the verb, these are called infinitives. So we're going to be learning, studying, well, probably a review for most of you, these basic verb tenses. I can tell you right now, when we do the oral exam, I'm going to be listening very closely to hear if you're able to use these basic verb tenses correctly. The simple present, simple past, present continuous, and present perfect. These four verb tenses make up the majority of spoken English in conversation. So it's very important that you know how to use these correctly. We will be studying other more complex verbs this semester, including present perfect continuous, for example. These are used much less in conversation. I don't know the exact figures, but I would say more than 95% of conversation encompasses just those simple and continuous verbs that we're going to be studying in this unit. So while this is a review for most of you, I would really like you to focus on comprehending the grammar when these verb tenses are used, and really spend some quality time practicing with your partner, making sure that you're able to use these verbs in conversation correctly. This will be a big part of your oral exam grade. This presentation contains quite a few opportunities for practice. Obviously, if we were in class, I would be having you do these partner practices in class together with your partner. We're not going to be able to do that, obviously, in a video lecture like this. So what I would like for you to do is, as we go through this, just jot down some notes in your assignment notebook, what you would say in a conversation like that. And this will help you later when I'm going to ask you to spend some time doing a video or a voice chat with your partner using the KakaoTalk group. When you call them, you can use those prompts to remember what was in the presentation. In addition, these presentations are on the website, and I will put them up on the school portal. So you can actually look at these with your partner while you are doing your KakaoTalk practice together, and just go through the various speaking activities that I've highlighted and cover those together. And really, that's a much more valuable use of your time even than these video lectures. These video lectures really have a very limited usefulness in a conversation class. Me simply telling you about these grammars and giving you these examples, while it's probably good in terms of helping clarify in your mind what we're talking about, the actual use of these in conversation is what's going to help build your fluency, build your vocabulary, build your ability to think carefully about forming questions and forming replies quickly in a conversation. So really, I say this to my students a lot. Really, what fluency is being able to speak quickly. And when I say speak, I mean not only to talk, I mean also to listen quickly. To be able to listen to what someone is saying, and before they even finish talking, have a reply or a question or a response or a comment or to agree or disagree. This is what fluency is. And so I know from experience that most of my students are probably approaching an upper intermediate to high intermediate level. And so the next step for you in building your English competency is to work on your speed. And so when we work together in class, you're going to hear me saying again and again, faster, faster, faster. I want you to talk quicker. And so really push yourself in your conversation practice with your partner to speak quickly, to think of responses quickly while your partner is speaking. And we're really going to focus in this class on the formation of questions. So during each unit, we're going to spend quite a bit of time focusing on how to speak questions, how to think in terms of who, what, where, when, why, how much, how often, to always have those words in the forefront of our mind when we're having a conversation. Okay, so let's get going here with Touchstone 4, Unit 1, Interesting Lives. We have here a, hang on, my thing is locked up. Let's see if it'll go. Hang on. Here we go. Okay, again, I apologize for the technical difficulties. This is right at the edge of my computers. My poor 7-year-old MacBook Pro is just steaming along here trying to pull this off. So I've got the video quality, the audio quality all dialed down to almost nothing. So I apologize for the low quality of this. I'm doing the best I can with what I have. So the first thing I want you to do is think about who is someone you know who has an interesting life. Do you know anybody who has an interesting life? Someone who travels a lot, someone who does, who goes on interesting vacations, someone who has an interesting job, perhaps, something like that. That could be something that you would write about here. Just pause the video, take a few minutes, and answer this question in your assignment notebook. Okay, I'm assuming you've completed that part of the assignment. Let's look next at the questions, the sample conversation here. I would like for you to use this when you talk with your partner, when you call your partner for your Kakao Talk practice conversation time. Please do this practice conversation. Talk with your partner about someone you know who has an interesting life. Use the sample conversation below to talk about them. Do you know any interesting people? Let me think. I guess my friend Minji is pretty interesting. Why do you think she is interesting? For one thing, she is incredibly smart and creative. What interesting things does she do? She is a film student, so she is always seeing really interesting movies. That must be really expensive. Not really. She sees most of them at the school. Oh, and she is making a movie right now with some of the other students. Okay, one thing I want you to notice about this conversation is that we're using a lot of different verb tenses here. Okay, we have present tense verbs, we have past tense verbs, we have some present continuous verbs, is making, okay, is always seeing. So we have a lot of different verb tenses. This is what we do when we're describing our life and describing other people that we know. We might tell stories using the simple past. We might describe people as interesting or smart or creative. using the verb to be in the simple present. So we're going to be using these various verb tenses in a descriptive way to describe things as we go forward. So I'm going to be giving you some opportunities in this unit to practice with your partner, and I'll be giving you some conversation prompts in a moment to do that. Here's our second speaking practice. I would like for you to write down your answer in your assignment notebook. So this would be part of your assignment notebook, writing down the answers to these questions that are in the presentation. As I said, normally in class we wouldn't do that. We would be speaking with our partner using these prompts. But I think it's a good activity and a good learning experience to go ahead and write down the answers. So I'll be checking these in your assignment notebook whenever we meet in class for the first time. So just keep a kind of a list. I'll give you an opportunity to pause the video whenever you write these things. So we've already had one writing prompt for this unit. Here's the second one. Talk with your partner about some interesting things that you have done in the past. So we're going to be using the simple past to describe our experiences. Here's an example. Last summer I traveled with my friends in South America. We saw a lot of snakes in the jungle there. We even ate snakes for dinner sometimes. You can see here the verb tense, traveled, saw, ate. We're using the simple past. Those verbs are highlighted there in yellow. We also see some time words. Last summer, sometimes. So we can see that there are words in the sentence that indicate that this is happening in the past. Go ahead, pause the video, and write about some interesting things that you have done in the past. Okay, continuing on now, I would like to preview this unit grammar. I'm going to talk about 4 different verb tenses that we're going to be using in this unit. First, the simple present is used to talk about permanent situations or regularly scheduled events. I brush my teeth every morning. You can see here the simple present verb brush is used to talk about something that we do every morning. And so that word, every morning, every day, every week, on Tuesday, on Wednesday, in July. Anytime we see one of these words that indicate part of a regularly scheduled action. Sometimes I call these calendar events. Calendar events. Things that we would write into our calendar or into our diary or into our cell phone schedule. I know that I have a really, really bad memory, so if I don't put something into my calendar app on my phone, I usually forget it. My calendar app in many ways has replaced my memory. So I know that you all have busy schedules. There's probably some things that you do on a regular schedule that you don't even think about. For example, like brushing your teeth. Every morning we get up, we take a shower, brush our teeth, probably some other things we do in the bathroom too. And then we go out. I know for me, the first thing I do every morning is I make my coffee. I get up, make my coffee, drink my coffee, and then I go to the bathroom. It's just kind of like clockwork. It's part of my regularly scheduled. So we use the simple present to talk about these regularly scheduled events. The next verb tense we're going to talk about here is the simple past. This is used to talk about completed actions that happened at a specific time in the past. So there's 2 parts of this. It has to be a completed action. It's finished. It's done. It didn't start in the past and we're still doing it. We're going to use a different verb tense for that. And it's happened at a specific time, and that specific time that it happened is usually indicated in the sentence. We have an example here. I brushed my teeth this morning. So this is not every morning, it's this morning. It means that earlier today, at a specific time, I brushed my teeth. We're going to use that for completed actions that happened at a specific time in the past. So the simple past and simple present are very commonly used. Now, we're going to talk about two continuous forms. Continuous verbs indicate that the action is happening now, right now. We're doing it as we are speaking. Please wait. I'm brushing my teeth. This means that right now, I'm brushing my teeth. I can't come and do whatever it is you want me to do. The past continuous is used to describe actions that were happening at a specific time in the past when another action occurred. So we use the past continuous to talk about two things happening at the same time. The past continuous is often used to describe stories. So here we go. Here's a question. What were you doing when I called? What were you doing? This is a past continuous question. I was brushing my teeth. We can turn that into a single sentence. I was brushing my teeth when you called. So we can see there that two things are happening at the same time. I was brushing my teeth, past continuous, when you called. That is the simple past. So we use the past continuous to talk about what we were doing when something else happened. It's very often used when we want to talk about our experiences in the past. Another very commonly used verb tense is the present perfect. The present perfect is used to describe actions that took place in the past at an indefinite time. This means that we don't know when it happened, or it's not important when it happened. The most commonly used form for the present perfect is the question, have you ever? Have you ever brushed your teeth in the shower? The present perfect is often used with words like before, never, just, in my life, and this week. Very commonly, the present perfect is used with the adverb never. And it's obvious why. If we've never done something, then it didn't happen at a specific time in the past. It didn't happen at the specific time in the past because it never happened. So you'll often hear people say, I have never done jump, jump, jump. Okay? I have never skydived. I have never gone skiing. I have never kissed a monkey. Okay? There's lots of things that all of us have never done. We're going to use the present perfect to talk about things we haven't done because it didn't happen at a specific time. We can only talk about the specific time that something happened if we really did it. Okay? I know that might be a little bit confusing. But if it did happen at a specific time in the past, and it's a completed action, we're going to use the simple past. Another verb tense that's commonly used is the present perfect continuous. This is used to describe events that started in the past and continue in the present. What have you been doing lately? This might be a question that you would ask a friend that you haven't seen for a while. Maybe you're walking in Samyeon and you see one of your old high school friends and you haven't seen them for 2 or 3 years. And you're kind of catching up. What's going on? What have you been doing lately? You could say, oh, I have been taking a yoga class this semester. Now a class like a yoga class, maybe it started in December. And we like it. We've been doing it every morning, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And we just signed up for another month, so we're still taking it. It started in December. It's still going on now in March. I have been taking a yoga class this semester. The present perfect continuous is often used with time words like lately, recently, for 5 years, this year's, this semester, since 2008. When we look at this in more depth later, we'll talk about those time words, since, for, and in. We're going to be looking at an interview on page 2 in the book in a moment. I would like for you to use the questions and answers on page 2 to practice with your partner. Write down your partner's answer and use the correct verb tense in your answers. I'll look at these in your assignment notebook later. So let's take a moment now to look at, I hope this works, to look at the book. Okay, we will skip this part for now. We have here an interview of a student named Melida Cortez. It appears that she is an art student at a university. You can see her here painting a beautiful picture. And there are some questions here. She is the English Department Student of the Month, and she's being interviewed by the department newsletter here for an online interview. How long have you been living here? I've been living in Mexico City for 5 years. I came here to go to school originally. It's a great place to live. What is the verb tense here? How long have you been living? This is the present perfect continuous. She started living here 5 years ago. She's still living here now. An action that started in the past and continues into the present. How long have you been living here? This is a classic present perfect continuous question. Sometimes I abbreviate it and call it the PPC. Have you ever lived in another country? There's that have you ever, the PP, present perfect. Have you ever? Have you ever lived in another country? And she says, no, I haven't. So she answers with the present perfect. No, I haven't, because it's a negative. But, she says, my brother has. He has been living, PPC, present perfect continuous, in Bogota, Colombia for almost a year now. So we can see there the words for almost a year now. This means that he moved there a year ago. He's still living there now. An action that started in the past and continues into the present. We use the present perfect continuous. He's been living. He has been living. She uses the PP, the present perfect, when she answers the question. No, I haven't. She's never done it. It's not a completed action because she didn't do it. It didn't happen at a specific time, so we can't use the simple past. It never happened. So something that when the time that it happened is unknown, or it never happened, we use the present perfect. What kind of music are you listening to currently? So we have a phrasal verb here, listening to. The verb tense is in the present continuous. What kind of music are you listening to currently? What kind of music are you listening to these days? What kind of music are you listening to now? Okay, so she wants to know, what is your musical taste at this time? So when we ask those questions, currently, now, these days, we're going to use the present continuous. She says, well, of course, I love Latin music. This is an interesting word, love. She's talking about her feelings about music now, but she doesn't say, I am loving Latin music. Well, of course, I am loving Latin music. Even though she's answering a question about what she's doing now, she doesn't use the present continuous with the verb love. Love, like, hate, these verbs of preference are usually not used in the present continuous. Whenever your boyfriend or girlfriend asks you, do you love me? They want to know if you love them now. They're asking about what is your emotional feeling about me at this moment. But we don't say, I am loving you. No, you never hear anybody say, I am loving you. I can imagine no circumstance where we would use that. We always use the simple present with that verb. I love you. But in the second sentence, I'm listening to a lot of Latin pop right now. Now there's that word, now. I am listening to. So she's using the present continuous, listening to. Here's another one. She doesn't say I am liking. She says I like. Okay, so we like, love, hate, prefer. We're not going to use the present continuous with those verbs of preference. So she switches back to the simple present. I like to listen to music when I paint. Okay? What's your favorite way of spending an evening? What do you do? What's your favorite way of spending an evening? Using the simple present to talk about your experience. Okay? We're talking here about part of your regularly schedule, things that you do regularly. She says, I like to go out with my friends. We go and eat someplace and then go performing all night. You can tell by the way that she's saying it, this is something that happens a lot. It's a repeated action. It's a preference that she has. I like to go out with my friends. We go and eat someplace and then go performing all night. I know I'm spending a lot of time going through these individually, but I want to take the opportunity to highlight the different usages of these commonly used verbs. I'm not going to go through all of them. We'll just skip down here to this. What did you do for your last birthday? What did you do? This is a simple past question. What did you do for your last birthday? This is a specific time, your last birthday. I went home and had a big party with my friend. It happened on a specific time, her birthday. It's a completed action. It's finished. So we're going to use the simple past. What is the nicest thing anyone has ever done for you? She starts out actually about 6 months ago, so we have a specific time. We know we're going to be using the simple past. She's telling a story. But the first verb here, she says, I was complaining to my dad. So we're going to be using the past continuous, was complaining. She was complaining, so her father paid for some driving lessons. I was thrilled. Okay? So her father paid for the driving lessons because she was complaining. So we're using that simple past and past continuous, was complaining, to kind of connect those two actions in time. She was complaining and her father paid for driver's lessons. Then, for the last verb in that last short sentence, I was thrilled, she switches back to the simple past to talk about how she felt. Thrilled. We're using this adjective. Thrilled means excited about something. I was excited. I was scared. I was nervous. Okay? So we can talk about our feelings just like we would in the simple present if we were talking about our feelings now. Right now, as I'm recording this, I am hungry. So I want to eat after I finish this. So we can talk about, if I talk about my experience that I'm having right now, just trying to think of an example, I might say later, if I talk to Damien, I was hungry when I was recording my video lecture, and I was afraid that my students would hear my stomach going rah, 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 especially when I read the next question. Who or what is the greatest love of your life? And she says, chocolate. I don't want to think about chocolate right now, although I did give myself permission after I finished this video lecture that I could go to Baskin-Robbins and get some ice cream. This is a little bit stressful, so I'm happy that I can go have ice cream when this is finished. We need to go a little bit quicker because the time is almost finished. So let's quickly go back to here. I would like for you to practice these questions on page 2 with your partner. Have you ever lived in another country? What did you do for your last birthday? These are good practice questions. So I hope that you can use these as you're going forward in your practice time. Okay, let's continue on here. I wanted to take a few minutes to go through that together. We'll move through the rest of this pretty quickly. So we have already completed part of Lesson A, interviews. How do you learn about interesting people? You might find things out on Facebook. We've already read the article. How do you think the English department chooses its student of the month? Please talk about that with your partner. You don't need to write that down in your assignment notebook, but you can discuss that with your partner. Good grades, attendance, class participation, volunteering, helping other students, getting awards. Discuss whether or not you would like to be the student of the month for the English department someday. I would like for you to complete the activities on page 3 in the book, the grammar activity. Don't look at these answers until after you've completed it. I've already showed you the answers. But go ahead and write that down in your assignment notebook. It'll be good practice for you. Then I have a variety of verb tenses for partner practice here. There's 6 questions here. I would like for you to write down an answer briefly to each of these questions in your assignment notebook. First, using the simple present verb tense. Talk about how you organize your time carefully so that you have time to study and have fun during the university semester. Next, using this present perfect verb tense, ask and answer questions about social media use. For example, have you ever had an online argument with a stranger when using social media? Think about your social media use. See if you can think of a have you ever question that you can answer and ask your partner during your partner practice time. Next, using the simple past, talk about something that happened to you in the past that really changed your life in some way. About 11 years ago, something happened to me. I was looking online for a job and I saw an advertisement that said teach in Korea. And I clicked on the advertisement and my life changed completely. I quickly got a job in Korea. The next thing I knew, I was on a plane coming here. I've never left. My life changed completely just from one little click of a mouse. And it's amazing to think how that could happen to all of us. Next, using the present continuous verb tense. Talk about what you are doing these days to prepare for life after university. Jobs, relationships, leisure time, etc. So maybe you're preparing for marriage after university. Maybe you have been dating someone that you really like and you hope to continue that relationship in the future. So using the present continuous, discuss those things that you're doing to prepare for life after university with your partner. Using the present perfect continuous. Talk about something that you've been doing for a long time. I have been taking piano lessons since I was 3. Something that you've been doing for a long time, something that started in the past and continues into the present moment. Talk with that about your partner. Using the past continuous verb tense, tell a funny story about a time when you did something embarrassing. One time I was drinking with my friends. We all have a drinking story. I was drinking and I fell. I was drinking and I threw up. I was drinking and I kissed somebody. Talk about a time when you did something embarrassing. So I would like you to answer those 6 questions in your assignment notebook and then talk about those with your partner during your Kakao Talk video or voice chat. It's a long story. Lesson B. When we have a complicated answer to a simple question, sometimes we begin by saying, it's a long story. Let's look at the PDF here. We'll go to lesson B. Just a moment. Let me find that here. Again, I am very grateful for your patience as I figure this out. Oh, by the way, there are more speaking practices and activities in here. I would like for you to complete this. The answers I've already shown you, but go ahead and complete it without looking at the answers. This PDF file is on the website. Here are some other things. Speaking naturally. I don't have time to go through all these, and to be honest, it wouldn't be easy to do in this format anyway. Here's a story by Dan about Dan Anderson. I would like for you to read this and complete these questions. There's also a word sort here to look in there and see which verbs are used with the to, which verbs are used with ing, and which verbs are used with verb plus particle or preposition plus verb plus ing. So read this, complete these in your assignment notebook, and I will check these later. Here is some grammar that you can look at carefully. Different verbs are used with different forms. Some verbs, like consider, finish, imagine, miss, mind, spin, these verbs are used verb plus ing. I finished doing. I spent 3 years working. Some verbs are used with the particle or a preposition plus verb ing. These verbs are end up, keep on, think about, plan on. How did you end up living here? I wasn't planning on leaving. Okay? So for those verbs, verb plus particle or verb plus ing, preposition plus verb plus ing, when you see those verbs, we're going to use the ing form. Some verbs are used with the to only. So agree, decide, happen, offer, seem, intend, expect. These are not used with the ing form, ever. Okay? We never say they agreed paying for Korean lessons. With those verbs, we always use to plus verb. They agreed to pay for Korean lessons. I didn't expect to get the job. We don't say, I didn't expect getting the job. That would be wrong. These verbs, we must use the to plus verb form, the infinitive. Here are some other verbs. Begin, bother, continue, start, like, love, and hate. These verbs, we can use verb plus ing or to plus verb, and the meaning doesn't change. If I can say, I love to eat ice cream, I can say, I love eating ice cream. Same meaning, doesn't matter at all. We can use either one, it doesn't change. Those verbs are begin, bother, continue, start, like, love, and hate. You need to memorize these lists because this is going to be on the exam and you need to know, Do I use verb plus ing? Or do I use to plus verb? Or does it matter? Sometimes it doesn't matter. Okay? Begin, bother, continue, start, like, love, and hate. We can use both. Then, there are 3 special verbs down here at the bottom. Remember, stop, and try. These verbs, we can use verb plus ing, or we can use to plus verb, but the meaning of the sentence will change. I stopped talking to him means we don't talk now. I don't talk to him anymore. I stopped to talk to him means I stopped walking so that I could have a conversation with that person. So the meaning is completely different depending on if you use the ing or the to form. Complete these questions here in part A in your assignment notebook, and then take turns asking the questions with your partner. Talk about it. Why did you stop doing that? Take turns asking each other questions and using the ideas below. Can you think of someone who you don't miss seeing? Can you think of something that you agreed to do recently? Please practice this with your speaking partner in your Kakao Talk voice chat. Going back to the presentation here, we can see some of the sample questions. I would like for you to answer these sample questions in your vocabulary in your assignment notebook. Some of these answers are you can find the answers to the activities in the book here in the presentation. This is the page 4, the word sort answer check. Check your answers. There's a couple of other things here. The other activities. Here's the answer check for page 5. I would like you to complete these in your assignment notebook and then talk about them with your partner. Practice using the grammar in Lesson B by asking and answering the questions on page 5 with your partner, as I have highlighted. So, for your homework, please complete all activities from the video lecture and carefully write your answers in your assignment notebook. I will be checking these when we meet in the classroom for the first time, and this counts as 10% of your grade, so it is important for you to complete the assignments. In addition to the activities from this video lecture, I would like for you to complete all activities from Unit 1, Lessons A and B in the student book, and carefully write your answers in the assignment notebook. Please contact your partner and to discuss together all of the activities and speaking practices from Unit 1. The activities from the video lecture, what I would do is call them and just go through the video lecture together. Go through the presentation on the website together. This presentation will be on the website, or you can just play the video and pause it as you come to the different speaking activities. And I would also like for you to discuss together all of the activities and speaking practices from the book, from Unit 1, Lessons A and Lesson B. Again, I have no way of checking whether or not you do your practice with your partner now, but I will know who did it and who didn't based on your performance in the oral midterm exam. Also, if you would like to practice with your partner, but your partner is not able or not interested in practicing with you, please let me know and I'll find you a new partner, okay? There may be people who, for some reason, are unable to practice using the video chat on Kakao Talk, or they don't want to for some reason. Some people might have a social phobia or something. I don't know. If you are unable to do the practice with your partner for some reason, please let me know. If your partner is not responding to you and you need somebody to practice with, please let me know, and I will find you a new partner. Okay? Sometimes that happens. So please let me know if you have any other questions. And I hope that you're enjoying these lessons. And please send me any feedback. If you're having problems with the interface, you can't access the student interface or something like that, please send me an email, and I will try to help you if I can. Thank you very much for listening. Have a good day.